You're watching the Seafood News Weekly video. This episode is brought to you by the 4th Annual Association of Genuine Alaska Pollock Producers, or GAP, their Wild Alaska Pollock meeting, taking place at the Westin Seattle in Seattle, Washington, on October 17, 2022. The meeting will bring together representatives from all segments of the wild Alaska pollock industry, marketing experts, and visionary speakers designed to challenge the status quo and inspire collaboration for tackling future industry challenges. Topics will include economic updates, consumer research and trends, the results from the new GAP Always On Wild Alaska Pollock Awareness and Demand campaign, and much more. Seafood News and Urnerberry are proud to sponsor this event, and GAP would also like to thank the Alaska Seafood Marketing Institute for its sponsorship. For more information to register for the meeting, please visit alaskapollock.org/about-us/events. Don't miss out. I'm Seafood News Managing Editor Amanda Buckle.
And I'm Seafood News staff writer Ryan Doyle. For the second year in a row, Peter Pan Seafood has set a price for Bristol Bay sockeye prior to the peak of the season. In late June, the processor announced that they would pay at least $1 per pound. But a few days after the announcement, the company increased the amount of the base price to $1.15 per pound. John Hickman, Vice President of Operations for Peter Pan Seafood, said that the reason the company makes these early starting price announcements is to intentionally put the fleet at ease with a starting point so that they know they will receive a fair price for the long hours and hard work they are about to endure participating in the world's largest sockeye fishery. The forecast harvest in the bay this year is 60 million sockeye salmon.
In other news, on Monday, July 4th, Minister Joyce Murray announced a one-year ban on commercial cod fishing in the northern Gulf of St. Lawrence in an effort to allow young fish to reach maturity. Her decision came just a few days after the 30th anniversary of the 1992 cod moratorium, which put more than 30,000 people out of work. And while Murray acknowledged that her announcement would disappoint fishermen, she told CBC News that cod stocks are deep in the critical zone and need the closure in order to give the stocks time to recover. FFAW and ASP both released statements expressing their concerns regarding the decision. FFAW President Keith Sullivan said in a statement that Minister Murray's decision further hurts the struggling region while continuing to let the real problem, seal overpopulation, spiral more and more out of control. ASP Executive Director Derek Butler acknowledged that it remains a concern that the stock is so low in the critical zone, but said if there is good news, it is just a one-year decision at this point.
Meanwhile, research and insight firm Technomic provided a mid-year update for its 2022 Foodservice Forecast, which predicted a recovery in the sector as COVID-19 restrictions eased and consumers returned to restaurants. 6 months later, that sentiment still holds true despite challenges like inflation impacting operations across the country. The mid-year update also features the latest on the labor situation facing restaurants, protein swaps seen on menus so far this year, which include salmon and tuna replacing steak, along with other trends impacting food service. Visit Seafood News for a breakdown of the biggest takeaways.
And finally, June refusals have been released by the FDA, and according to the data, a total of 63 seafood entry lines have been refused for the month. Of those total seafood entry lines refused, 9 were of shrimp for reasons related to banned antibiotics, 1 for shrimp due to the presence of pesticides, and another 5 for shrimp related to the presence of salmonella, being filthy, or both. The shrimp entry lines that were refused for antibiotic residues came from 2 different companies in India and 1 company in Bangladesh. Shrimp was also refused from Vietnam and Ecuador in June. Looking back at the past 6 months, the first half of the year found the FDA refusing a total of 45 entry lines of shrimp for reasons related to banned antibiotics. And according to the Southern Shrimp Alliance, the FDA is on track to refuse the largest number of entry lines of shrimp for veterinary drug residues since 2016.
And that's the guacamole. Subscribe to our channel below, and don't forget to head over to seafoodnews.com or visit the Seafood tab in Comtel for a comprehensive look at the latest market and industry news.
And you can also listen to a new episode of Seafood News Podcast released on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes every week. Thanks for watching.